mic the whole time.
They podcast. He funny. I like. Yes, sir. Okay. I like.
What's good, y'all? It's CJ Moss, the official host of the Free Game Podcast, where we give you free game for this game called life through interviews, stories, and experiences. Because I can't lie to y'all, life can be hard and challenging without the proper information and wisdom. So we're going to have entrepreneurs, athletes, business owners, experts of all fields, social media influencers, and just flat out great people with amazing stories. So tap in with us every Friday at 11 a.m. to get yourself some free game. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Tell me, big bro, tell me, why is natural medicine like THC and mushrooms and things of that nature, why is that frowned upon here in America, but your man-made drugs like Tylenol, Advil, Aleve, ibuprofen, why are those man-made synthetic chemicalized drugs, why are those praised here in America?
Look, man, I probably could give you a long explanation about that, bro, but it's really simple. It just comes to money. Tylenol, opioids, it's putting money in big pharma's pockets. You and I, we got the natural medicines, you know, and it's not putting no money in their pockets. They want us to buy what?
Their stuff, their product.
Exactly.
Now, but it's clear that these things, that the pain relieving things, if you will, it's clear that these things temporarily relieve your pain, but on the contrary, it's also, hey, it's going to cause diabetes and diarrhea as well.
And may cause death.
Absolutely. But I've never heard anybody pass away from cannabis.
I'm pretty sure the number is still zero.
Still zero. So you're telling me right now, 2023, not a single human on God's green earth has passed away from cannabis.
If you show me one, I will empty my bank account out and give it to you right now.
Wow. Now, why is that, though, bro? Because alcohol, just 2022, over 3 million people died due to alcohol consumption and what you do under the influence of alcohol.
Yeah, decisions you make and stuff.
Correct.
Like
but zero died from cannabis, bro.
You know, it's actually funny. So I went to the Texas Cannabis Roundup last night, and I was outside passing out joints, and I gave a joint to this lady.
Yeah.
She's from the UK. She was like, oh, thank you so much. You know, you were very bold to come up to a group of ladies and promote your business. And she was like, you know, after tonight, my outlook on cannabis has changed because, you know, in the UK, people get drunk. We go out to the bars. There's fights. People get in car accidents, stuff like that. It's just, you're always bound to have some kind of bad time eventually, even if it's the next day for the hangover, stuff like that. But she noticed that a whole bunch of stoners get together promoting their business. Yeah, we're having a beer or two, but we're outside smoking joints, hitting dab pens, passing shit around.
Yeah.
And nothing's going wrong. We're having a great time together. So
now you got to tell us, you got to tell the people, what got you into cannabis, bro? All things cannabis. What got you into it, bro?
Honestly.
Matter of fact, can I take that question back? Can I ask another one before that question? Yeah. Backspace. Tell us about the first time you got high. Tell us. Yes, sir. We need it. We need it.
All right. So I ain't going to name no names, but the first time I got high, me and some homies, we were about like 15 years old, D1 athletes, so we thought. And we had just woke up early as hell to go to strength and conditioning camp, man. We finished strength and conditioning camp, and we, like I said, D1 athletes, so we stayed after and got another workout in. Then after that, we was like, you know what we gonna do, man? It's a nice summer day. 95 degrees, we can't go to the pool. We got kicked out the pool yesterday. We can't go to your house. Your mom says we're too loud. Let's just go to such and such house and we'll figure it out. So we walked to such and such house, and he had like this much weed, and we was like, bro, I'm not doing that. And somehow, I don't even remember really, but somehow we got talked into it. So we all put 5 in. I had 5 on it. So we pull up to one of these dealers' house. I walk in with my $25. Everybody put 5 in.
Okay.
I give him the $25. At the time, this is when corn and Reggie was a thing. So, you know, you can get a lot for a little bit. I gave dude the $25. He takes his sack that he sells out of, takes a handful out, and then gives me the bag. And I was like, fuck it. So I just went back to the car, and I was like, look, bro, like, this what I got. And it was like, bro. So we all go back, we roll it. Or no, excuse me, we didn't roll it. None of us knew how to roll at the time. So we got a big Hawaiian Punch jug, drilled a hole in it, went downstairs to homie's dad's toolbox, got a little nut, got that in there, and then that's how we ended up smoking it for the day. So we went and drove behind a little fire station in our hometown. Found this little random treehouse that had been there forever, bruh, and we just are passing the Hawaiian Punch bottle around for what felt like hours. I really don't know. After I took the first hit, I have no clue how long we was out there. But I know we had to get down. I have no clue how I got down. One of my homies actually fell out the tree. And then, like I said, what felt like hours was the walk back from the little treehouse that we found to homeboy's car, which, I kid you not, is 45 seconds from point A, where we were, back to homeboy's house. I swear we was in the car forever. And my other homeboy, the one whose idea was, he was chilling. We go back to his house, he's laying in the bed, you know, doing whatever. We're young. Yeah, we're young, high as fuck. And I am on my phone, how to get on high. I was like, this shit is crazy. I have to get home. I'm like, okay, take a cold shower. So I'm like, bro, can I take a shower? And he's just like, fuck it, do whatever you want, bro. And the shower didn't work. So I'm like, okay, drink a gallon of milk. So I drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant, by the way. So I drink a gallon of milk, and I'm like, nigga, this is not working. It's not working at all. So eventually, he was like, bro, you just got to chill. Like, you just got to relax. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I look at my I don't have a watch at the time. I look at my phone. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon. So I really don't have to go home. I don't know what I was stressing for the whole time. But I was like, you know what? That was pretty fun. So, like I said, we had a lot. So the whole summer, after strength and conditioning camp, you know where I was. I ain't going to say who was with me, but you know where I was.
Okay, side note though to that, because you know me, sports and science therapist, right? You said strength and conditioning. Did that help with your recovery at that time, or did you even notice?
I didn't notice at the time. I just knew weed was weed. So growing up, my stepbrother, he had got in trouble for some weed. Not necessarily trouble, but trouble in the household. And my mom just thought it was the worst thing in the world. Like, oh, he's doing bad in school. He's going and hanging out with all of these thugs and smoking weed, which really wasn't the case. But at the time, cannabis had that negative stigma. So I really didn't know much about weed other than what I had seen. So I didn't know it had any medicinal effects or anything.
Nothing.
Anything like that. We was just getting high to get high.
Well, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Free Game Podcast, where we give you free game for this game called life. I'm your host, CJ Moss, and joining me today is my little big brother.
Yes,
I mean, he's followed not my footsteps, but I've kind of paved the way, and he's just like, hey, I like that direction
like
you're
a little
going.
fly in my
And he's taken it and did it in his own way, and he has a successful business, he has a successful career, and I'm super proud of this dude. But without further ado, let me give him his little credentials. Not little credentials, but huge credentials.
Hey.
This man is a cannabis influencer.
Yes, sir.
He is a brand entrepreneur.
I am.
He is the owner of Flying High Flowers, and his products can be found in the Ninth Cloud Smoke and Vape Shop and also Cloud 9 Smoke and Vape Shop. My guy, again, my little brother, Pearce, just found out his last name is Giles. We appreciate you, big bro, for coming through. What's good with you, baby? You straight?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Bro, talk to me, bro. Talk to
you.
me. Like, talk to me. Talk to me.
Talking to you, man. What you want to know?
How you feeling, bro? We got the lights green for you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Cause it's green. It's gonna be a green episode, bro.
Everything is green.
Now tell us, how'd you get into it, bro? How'd you get into it? Outside of the first episode, outside of the first time you guys went up to the treehouse behind the fire station, after the strength and conditioning camp and whatnot, I'm assuming that you didn't stop after that. I'm assuming you didn't stop smoking after that.
Nah,
Yeah.
so like I mentioned, we had a bag full,
Yeah.
and the summer's long
Yeah.
when you're a kid.
But
so,
you're 15 though.
Yeah. So like we weren't indulgent at all. So we were actually smoking out of. I mentioned the Hawaiian Punch bottle, but at the time, like we can't be carrying a big ass Hawaiian Punch bottle around. So.
Yeah.
I did have asthma growing up, so
Did
I
you?
had
Okay.
nebulizers
Really?
and inhalers and stuff. And you know, YouTube is an amazing thing when you're 15 years old.
That's true.
So, yeah, ended up finding a way to,
Yeah.
you know, make a little concoction is what I like to call
Yes.
it. Put a little tinfoil on there, poke some holes in
Yeah.
it, and that was good. Look, slide it in your pocket. So one bowl of that was good. So
Okay.
we were probably smoking at the time maybe half a gram a week. So we weren't getting into it too much. So
Now,
it's something that became a habit. Not
little something,
necessarily a habit, but
Yes.
something to do for fun.
okay. And then you turn your habit into a business.
I mean, eventually, yeah.
Now take us through those steps because this episode, bro, it's highly anticipated,
Yeah.
highly requested. Everybody that knows about cannabis, all things cannabis, bro, they are watching right now. They are tuned into this episode, bro,
Well, welcome,
because
welcome.
they know that you have went against the grain properly when it comes to all things cannabis, if you will. So take us way back. Take us way back to that thought, that day that you said, you know what, I think I could make this my own. I think I can start my own company, and I think I can be a CEO and run some stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, most people know I went to college for 4 years, and I have this to show for it. I was really just out there having a good time, getting high, making connections. I mean, at the time, it was frowned upon. My parents weren't really too happy about it, but I mean, like, it's like I'm not finna be one of them people that go to school for 16, 17 years. No,
Yeah.
not literally, but
yeah,
what
one
it
of them.
feels
Yeah,
like.
it feels like.
And then go out of school and be in debt, bro. So
Yes.
like I'm just gonna call it quits right here. So I actually dropped out after fall 2019. I dropped out, and I was just working, you know, doing a little something on the side.
Yeah.
And
Little something on the side.
yeah, and I was just like, this ain't working for me. So I eventually ended up moving back home. I tried community college one more time. It didn't work. So I was doing my outside business activity out of my mom's house. I was sneaking out to make sales and stuff.
Yeah.
And then eventually she caught me. And at the time, we're going back to like when I first started smoking, she caught us one time, probably like 6 months down on the road. Hurt her feelings, devastated, because like I mentioned, my stepbrother. So she thought I was going to be one of them.
Okay.
So she was like, no, you got to stop. And then when she realized I wasn't going to stop, then her feelings was hurt because she thought I was a lost cause. And then she realized I could still maintain a 3.5 GPA while I'm going out and getting high with my friends every weekend. And, you know, it wasn't stopping any progress that I was making. So, like I said, I went back home, went to community college for a little bit. It wasn't really still working for me. So my mom was like, you always talked about owning the dispensary since you were, you know, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
She was like, so why don't you just do that? So I was like, okay,
right,
you know
you're
what?
right.
You know, you're right. So, I mean, I started looking into it, and I mean, everybody that knows me knows I was Taylor Gang. That's really what got me into weed.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? Yeah, Wiz Khalifa can sell some weed and, you know, rap about it and shit. So can I.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, looking at me right now, the rapping clearly didn't work out, but I mean, you know, pushing the pack, I mean, clearly made a way for me, honestly.
Fair. Now, for the people that don't know what Taylor Gang is, what is Taylor Gang?
The Taylor Gang is, honestly, young men with some long hair, and we rock Chuck Taylors.
Yeah. He ain't got the chucks on today, y'all.
No,
He got the
sir.
forces on today. Now, I want to backstep, though, to Moms. She thought that you were a lost cause due to your brother dealing with some issues and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, it's safe to say that she did have a reason to feel that way about you.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, she did, yeah.
But even when your brother did it, why is there this stigma that cannabis is awful? Like it's bad. Like it's gonna. I just told you about 3 million last year of alcohol.
Yeah.
Nobody on your butt about alcohol, but why are you on my butt about something that is technically a plant?
I mean, it really just goes back and way back into the early 1900s when they actually started the cannabis prohibition, and they were putting things into people's heads that, you know, cannabis makes you like black men, and cannabis makes you
No
act
way.
like this, and cannabis makes you act like this, and it makes you stupid, and, you know, stuff like that. So people have just always looked down upon it. And I guess, like I mentioned earlier, it's the product for us,
Yes.
by us.
For us, by us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they don't really like that because they don't have it. They don't have access to it at the time.
Yeah. Now I got a whole bunch of questions I want to diagnose, bro. Like I do usually do it a little bit different. We kind of ping pong off each other, but I want this one to be all about you, bro,
Okay.
because I got a whole bunch of questions from a whole bunch of people, and they want to know because it's something that's not talked about in the everyday world, bro. And you graced us with your presence to be able to talk about it, to give us what?
Free game.
Yes, sir. Here we go. So first question for you, bro. First question for you. Ooh. You ready? Are you ready?
Watching the wheel spin.
What are cannabinoids?
Cannabinoids. So I'm gonna break everything down in layman's today. I'm not gonna be giving you all the long explanation.
Yes.
So cannabinoids is ingredients. So if we're thinking about weed, think of weed as a cake.
Okay.
To make a cake, you need ingredients: butter, eggs, sugar, flour. To make weed that you and I know and love, you need CBD, THCA, Delta 9, you know, all of the other cannabinoids. I can go, it's a long list of them. I'm not going to go down the whole list. But cannabinoids are basically all of the different ingredients that come together to give you the effects that we all love when we get high and smoke weed.
Wow. That was good. That was so good, bro. You broke that down so simple that I felt like I knew exactly what you were saying just now.
Hey,
Like I
that's
felt
all
like
I
I
had
could
to do,
finish your
man.
sentences just now.
Yeah, it's free
but I
game,
couldn't.
bro.
Okay. What is the difference in Delta 8 and Delta 9?
So
Wait, I'm sorry. What is Delta first? I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
And then what's the different components in 8 and 9?
Okay, so the deltas are the cannabinoids for sure. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know the specific differences between the 8 and 9. I know Delta 8 is essentially synthesized marijuana, synthesized cannabinoids. Delta 9 though is the main compound in tetrahydrocannabinol that you feel when you get high.
Okay.
So I'm actually glad you asked me that because
Come
at
on.
first I was selling Delta 9 flour, and people, the stores were buying it, of course, but the people on the streets, they weren't really fucking with it because they're like, no, you're just selling CBD. What the hell is that? You just selling CBD? I'm like, no, like if you really knew something,
Let me give you game.
tetrahydrocannabinol is a whole chemical compound.
Okay.
Delta 9 is part of that, and Delta 9, when set on fire, gives you the psychoactive effects that you feel when you're high. So really, if you knew something, I'm giving you the pure, not necessarily the purest form, because THCA is the purest form, but this is the purest form of weed that you can get.
This is what you're looking
This
for.
is what you're looking for.
The desired
essentially.
outcome of you.
Exactly.
Now, what do you say to that man that thinks they know what they talking about and they don't know what they're talking about? Like you deal with that situation where
Every day.
things aren't moving.
Yeah.
Like the product ain't moving. It's not selling
Yeah.
because people are uneducated.
That's essentially what it was.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, for the longest, I kept telling myself, like, I'm not here to educate people. I'm here to sell the product.
Okay.
Like, honestly, if you know I'm selling it, it's going to get you high. If I sell it, I like it to some sort, some extent. So, I don't know. At first, I was kind of just turning a blind eye to it, but then I was holding on to product for weeks and months on end. So, I was like, you know what, let me try to break it down and help the average stoner understand what is actually going on, what cannabinoids are. Or not the average stoner, because the average stoner will probably know a thing or two, but the average Joe on the street.
So there's levels to this stoning thing.
It's levels to this
Take
shit.
take me through the levels. Like the stoner, you say average stoner is probably like middle ground.
Yeah,
And then you would
middle
say
ground.
Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa,
Yeah, and
maybe
then
Joe
you got-
Rogan.
yeah,
Those
exactly.
guys are the high.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the lows would be
The guys like me that can buy an eighth and it lasts a week or two.
okay. So you don't indulge in your own product.
Nah, I don't. I buy a little personal stash on the side.
Do you really? So you have a person that takes care of you, and you take care of the rest of the world.
I got a plug.
Tell us why. Because most people, they're going to try and test their own products just to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
And obviously, you
Well,
know
of
it's
course,
good,
yeah, of
right?
course I know it's good, yeah.
But why don't you dip into your own milk, if you will?
Because I'm an avid user, and if I dipped into my own milk, at the end of when I'm going to dip a cookie, ain't gonna be no more milk.
Okay. Now tell us, how many different items could you make edibly with THC components? Because I've heard of, you got the can of butter, you got the cookies, Rice Krispie treat.
Believe it or not, whatever you want to put weed in, you can put weed in. I've had salads that have gotten me high. I've had amazing garlic knots that have gotten me high. Shout out Stone Pizza in New York City. I've gotten ice cream that's gotten me high. I've had sodas that's gotten me high. I actually have a colleague, his name is Aaron. He runs Tejas Tonic. He has a seltzer that gets you high. Not essentially, like not stoned, but
You're going to feel a little something.
Something when you sip on that seltzer, yeah, for sure.
Now,
or it's not a seltzer, excuse me, it's a tonic. Aaron has a tonic.
Okay.
Tejas Tonic, shout them out. But yeah, it gets you feeling a little loose if you take a couple sips of it.
now you're listening out there and you're like, okay, Pearce, I don't want to be high all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Like you can't live your life without being high. People like you are weird in the world. You can't do anything without getting faded, without going in smelling like weed.
Yeah.
What do you tell that person? Respectfully, please, respect.
Nah, man.
I felt that spirit. I felt the spirit of rage coming upon you just now. I did.
It was good enough. It was good enough. Like, really? Like, what do I tell them? You really want me to tell them what I tell them?
Or you tell them that want to genuinely know and understand. I'll say it like that.
No, I mean, it just takes a tolerance. I mean, you don't have to smoke and use as much as I do to enjoy it. You can take what I like to call a micro dose. Like, I mean, I know a guy that, before we do things, he takes just one hit and he's good. So, I mean, you don't have to be stupid high. There's low doses of it. There's even tinctures that breaks it down to the milligram. So, I mean, you don't have to, you just have to find your level and kind of ride at that.
Okay.
My level just seems to be really high.
No pun intended.
The sky's the limit.
Now, speaking of is really high, one of the questions we got is tell us about the time you got your most highest. Take us through that story time. Just grab one, because I know it's a whole
Yeah, it's a whole bunch.
it's a whole
man.
library in there.
Yeah, I'm just going to thumb through them right now. Like, dang. The highest that I got would probably have to be at my first weed event that I went to. Or, I went out there to market my product, and needless to say, I overindulged. So, I mean, you got people out there, they're like, oh, try this, try this, try this, try this. And it's like, at a certain point, like, I'm high as fuck. I can't keep trying all of this. You just gave me this gummy. I don't know if I'm high or not, because I just had a joint over there. I took a dab over there. Such and such got ice cream over there. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, the first weed event that I went to, it was actually the Fort Worth Marijuana March. Shout out that. We're going to be doing that, running that back in October. Wow. So holla at me. We're going to have a table there. But yeah, it's just people offering you everything, and your eyes are big, bro. I mean, you're in Texas. People are offering you joints and edibles and stuff. It's like, this is the shit. So, yeah, I overindulged, and
Now there are communities that are fighting to get this legalized. If y'all peep his shirt, if you're peeping his shirt right now, you're seeing it right now. Zoom in on that for us. Zoom in on that for us.
Shout out my boy Amos.
Can you see it? Can you see it back there? Yep. And the show the front.
Yes, sir. Legalized Texas. So this shirt is actually made out of hemp.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if they can hear me. Yeah, I'm gonna run that back. The shirt is actually
shirt material out of hemp.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about it.
So I'm not an expert on it, but I know you can make all types of. Basically, you can make concrete out of hemp. You can make wood out of hemp. You can make wearable clothes out of hemp. I even have a face wash that is hemp. So people think like, oh, when you're fighting for hemp, and oh, you're just a pothead or you just want to get high. Like, there's countless things that you can make with hemp. Hemp is not just weed. So.
Really? Now, what's the value in making a hemp shirt over out of a cotton shirt or something like that?
More durable. So, I mean, You know, I love my white tees.
Of
and
course.
I hate the Bash Hanes, but you know, after a couple washes, that
course.
T-shirt is a little dingy. It done shrunk on you a little bit. This material is very expendable. I've actually had this shirt for about a year now, which was stained many
It looks
washes,
brand new
and
too. It's brand new too.
So.
Now, speaking of product, you got product, a lot of product.
A lot of product.
Now, I want you to take us through every single product that you have, and then I want you to tell us what your consumers buy the most.
Okay. So we actually, at Flying High Flowers, we do have a long line of products. We have Delta 9 gummies all the way at 50 milligram to 5 milligram for the new user. We have pre-rolled joints. We have what I like to call raw hemp flour. We have THCA flour, and really, that's really it. And I
Now,
just
let
break
me
it down
interrupt.
from
Let me
there.
interrupt, please. THC, and you're saying THCA.
THCA.
What's the difference? Because you're watching out there and you're like, he said THCA. I've heard him say that a couple times. Most people didn't know there's a THCA.
Yeah.
What is a THCA?
So everybody knows the THC. You know, when they're looking for weed, they know THC.
THC,
But the
yes.
THC is actually tetrahydrocannabinol acid. And before you like, what the fuck? He just said acid. It's the purest form of THCA. So I actually had a gentleman explain it to me in a better term last night. He was like, when you grow weed, it's THCA. When you're growing the THC plant, when it's on the plant, the form of THCA or THC is THCA.
Okay.
And then when you cut it down and cure it, which is it's a long line of I'm not
Go
gonna
ahead.
get into
We
that.
got time. We got time. Talk to us, scientists.
But when you break it down and cure it, that's when you're letting all the chemicals in the plant go out. So after time or over time in the right environment, the THCA converts into the Delta 9, which is THC.
Okay.
So THCA essentially is the purest form of cannabis. It's like the precursor to weed, essentially. But if I was just breaking it down to somebody who really didn't know what it was, to me and you, it's weed. THCA is weed. But to the law, it's hemp because it has this one little carboxyl on its compound that basically when you light it on fire, it turns into weed. So when you buy it in the store, it's legal. But when you light that shit up, it's on and popping.
You're blowing my mind right now, bro.
Yeah.
So you telling me I can go to the store. You can go to the store right now to Smoke Shop,
Yeah.
XYZ. Get THCA, buy it out of there, take it to the crib, put some heat under it, and then it turns back into its purest form, which is essentially weed.
So it's basically like I mentioned the carboxyl. So many people know maybe the root of that word, decarb or decarboxylate, because when you're making edibles, you know, you break the weed down and you put it in the oven for a certain amount of time because you're activating those chemicals. Because when you eat THCA, it don't get you high. But when you smoke it, it gets you high as fuck.
Wait,
So when
what?
you're applying that heat to it,
Yes.
that's activating the chemicals that,
What?
or not the chemicals, I don't want to say chemicals, but the compounds.
The
That's
components of
yeah.
yes. So wait. So, hold on. So if I put THCA in an edible, it's not gonna get me high.
No.
But if I put THCA under a lighter, roll it up and whatever, that'll get me high.
Right. So essentially, THCA is weed. Basically, what I think is most dispensaries or smoke shops or whatever you call it, that's what they're selling is THCA flower because it's federally legal under the 2018 Farm Bill. So I think that's what they're selling is hemp, and they're selling it as weed because essentially it's weed. You roll it up, you smoke it, you put some fire to that shit, you're high than a bitch. I personally, when I'm riding around smoking or if I'm going to public events, I got a THC joint or two on me because police not gonna come fucking with me. No, sir, this is hemp. At the end of the day, this is hemp.
Yeah. Yeah, talk to him. So have you ever been in a situation like that?
No, not recently, but I did get arrested in 2019 for some possession. I had 2 grams on me on my way home from work. And you would never believe it. You would have thought I shot and killed and mugged the old lady, because it was like 11 cop cars at the scene, is what I like to call it. They questioned me for the longest, and then they searched the car after I had already given him the weed, because they play that bullshit. Oh, well, if you're honest with me, then it won't be. But if you lie to me, it's gonna be bad for you, young man. Fuck you. Anyways, I just had to get that out of there.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, PG. Yeah, PG.
Nah, but yeah, so I gave it to him up front, and then they made this whole scene. It was cop cars everywhere, lit the block up. It was ridiculous. And then what really blew my mind, bro, is once they put the cuffs on me, put me in the back of the car, the dude driving is like, if it was me, I would have just let you go. And I was like, bro, then tell him. Like, it's not too late. Tell him. I can call a ride right now.
Radio that boy is.
Nah, yeah. He was like, but I can't change his mind. You'll be out in a few hours. I was there a whole 24 hours waiting to be released over 2 grams of marijuana. $20 of marijuana cost me over like $5,000.
Now take us through the process of after the 24 hours when you got out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
What happened then?
So I had to go get a lawyer. Had to do the case. It was really bullshit. They drug it on for a long time. So I went to court. Lawyer asked for another court date. Went to court. Lawyer asked for another court date. We did that for like a year. I'd say probably about 6 months. We did that for about 6 months. And then we finally went to court, and I had to stand before the judge. And I kid you not, bro. The lady looks at me, my lawyer, she says, all right, you ready? I said, yes. And she says, okay. And then walks off. So, and I guess in her mind, she prepared me to defend myself. So, I mean, she like told the judge what was going on and shit, but at the end of the day, like, she wasn't there to speak for me. I was fucking up. I ain't gonna lie. I was still smoking. So they sent me across the street to the probation office. Pissed hot, of course. And they were like, yeah, so you're gonna have to do 9 months probation. Yeah. For 2 G's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, for 2 G's. So I had to do 9 months. Mind you, this is 6 months after I'd been arrested. So 9 months plus the 6 months. I ended up doing like a year and a half probation, paying $70 a month. I'm 19 years old.
Yes.
I really don't have the funds to be, paying
Yes.
y'all however much money I need a month on top of my probation fees, my court fees, the fine that they gave me for possession marijuana. Like, it was just ridiculous, bro.
Really?
Yeah, it was a tough time for sure.
Now, did your people, like your mom, your friends, your colleagues, your job even, when they got wind of what happened, what did they say?
So shout out my boy JB, because he held it down for me for sure. I got arrested, and I had to be at work the next morning.
Okay. What job? Where were you working at?
I was working at Joe's Crab Shack.
Okay.
I was working at Joe's Crab Shack. I had to be at work the next morning. My boy JB told the manager that I was sick. So,
Shout out
she
JB.
was like-
Shout out
She was like,
JB.
he said his mom called me. He's sick. He's not able to this, and that. So he held it down for me. But my mom, she was kind of frustrated because she's like, nigga, I've been telling you. So
I told you so.
yeah,
Sob story.
exactly.
Yeah.
And she was pissed because I kid you not, got out of jail 11 p.m., got home 11:30. 11:45, my boys was outside to pick me up so we can go smoke. She was like, yo ass don't learn. Yo ass ain't never gonna learn. So, yeah, she was a little frustrated with that. But essentially, I mean, it all went down smooth. She's mom, so she's got my back essentially at the end of the day. She helped me out with some probation fees here and there. So, it's all love.
Now, this is the second time on this show that a guest has talked about probation. So I want you to take the people through, like, the strenuous, tedious process of what probation is on a day-to-day basis. Like, tell us the numbers, tell us the amount of phone calls, the text messages, the places you had to go. Like, go back to those days in your mind and walk us through a 24-hour day.
So, luckily, I was on a misdemeanor probation, so it wasn't, like, nothing super terrible. But as far as you have a probation officer, depending on who they are, my first probation officer, she was solid. She didn't give a fuck. As long as I pulled up when I was supposed to pull up on that one date every month.
Easy going.
And I pissed in the cup when she told me to piss in the cup, we was good. But then I feel like the court knew she was too easy, so they was like, all right, let's
Here's
get
another
it.
one.
Yeah. let's rewind that. Let's run this back. Let's do this again. So, yeah, it's phone calls every other day just to check up on you. Meetings every 2 weeks just to literally know that you're not in jail.
Okay.
You have to keep a job. They want to know how many hours you worked every week. They want to know who you hanging out with. Like, they want to know everything. As far as going to pee, you got to go back to the same courthouse that told you you're on probation.
Wow.
You go downstairs, and it's like going to jail, essentially. You go through metal detectors, they do whatever you do, and then they give you a cup, and, you just go in there and you pee. Ain't no door, ain't no privacy. They're watching you. They're going to watch you pee, and they're going to make sure that it's coming out of your body and nowhere else. So, but, I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't terrible, but it was definitely a relief to get off of probation and not have to pay money because you told me. You want me to pay you because you told me to come here. You want me to pay you because you want me to piss in the cup. It's just ridiculous.
Sound like you need to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So at the end of the day, I mean, it was a relief to get up off of that. But I made a vow I will never, ever, ever, ever go back.
Never.
God willing, of course.
Praise God. Now back to scientist mode. What is the difference between indica, sativa, and hybrid?
So it's really a myth. Honestly,
Ooh.
Of
Debunk the myth for us. Debunk the myth for us, please.
Of indica and sativa and hybrids. So people think that indica had you on the couch.
In the couch.
You know
Absolutely.
that commercial with the
She flat.
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
And then sativa, I actually smoked some sativa on my way up here.
Okay.
And it makes you energized. It makes you get up and go. So you still had that head high, but your body is still able to function. The indica is a body high, or you can't fucking move. So, and then the hybrid is a mix of both. So you can either have your mix. You can have a 60-40, 80-20, whatever you like. Most hybrids though are leaning dominant one way. So you have your indica dominance and your sativa dominant strains. They come together and they're hybrids. But the myth that I mentioned is the indica and the sativa don't really they don't really control that the way you feel.
Really?
It's really the terpenes in the bud
That's one of my next questions
yes,
too.
sir.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's one of the terpenes in the bud that makes you feel certain ways, makes the bud smell certain ways. So.
Really? Now, it's fair to say that in 2023, stress is at an all-time high.
100%.
Pain is at an all-time high.
1,000%.
Anxiety is at an all-time high. You're stressed out. You have pain. You're anxious. You're depressed.
Shit.
All these things that's
All of the
quote-unquote
above.
bad. Now, it's fair to say that all these components that I just said were bad, the cure to them naturally is cannabis.
Yeah.
So to the person out there that is interested now, because they're listening to you talk,
Yeah,
and they're
they
like,
listen.
man, like, this dude sound like, I want to try it. I want to try it.
You should.
For a first- For a first-timer, what would you recommend to them? Out of your product line and services, person who's never done it, 30 years old, stressed out, can't pay their bills on time, wife is making them upset, the children just started school, but they doing bad in school because summer they wasn't disciplined. What would you give to that man?
I personally would give him a 5 milligram. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it really just, it's like, so, I work in finance and we work on suitability. So I can't sell him the same products that I'm selling you.
Yes.
Same thing. I have to find out what you like. So do you smoke, first of all?
Okay.
Have you ever smoked before? Have you ever indulged in this at all?
Consultation.
Exactly. So I have to see, kind of like know what kind of level we're at. So, really, it just depends on what it is. So a person that's never smoked before, I would give them like a little 5 milligram Delta 9 gummy to, kind of ease the pain. Or I'd probably even start with like a 10 milligram CBD gummy so they don't get high. CBD is non-psychoactive, so They're just gonna feel the medicinal benefits of it. So I probably would start with that. But if they want a little bit more, like I know my girl personally, even the 5 milligrams are too much for her.
She out of there.
Yeah, she takes
Half of that.
half and she's still ready for a nap. So it really just depends. You got to break it down a little bit.
Okay, now you just dropped the ball. He just dropped the ball on you. He just dropped a ball and bomb on you. You just said you have a regular job. You're in finance.
Yes, sir, I am.
So you don't just have a business. You actually are an
I'm not
employee
standing
somewhere.
I'm not standing on the corner selling dope every day.
Come on now. Talk to him. Now, tell us what it's like going into the finance world. The second guest in the finance world, by the way. Tell us what it's like going from the finance world, working at, you'd say, what, 9 to 5? Fair?
Yeah.
And then at 501, you're back into legalized Texas
Yeah,
world.
hello, what you need? Yeah, what's up? All right, finna be home in 15 minutes, bet. Oh, yeah, you need a new drop? Yeah, I can come pick that off. I'll be at the shop in about 5:30. Sound good?
Really?
Yeah, I'm collecting texts, and I have a queue all day of whoever needs, what stores need what events I need to prep for. So while I'm at my desk, between calls, we call it wait time at work. Between calls, I'm on my phone seeing what I need to do. But at 5:01, it's like, okay, this is the list. This is what I got to go need. This is what I have to go do.
Now, how do you, obviously you're explaining it, how you're balancing it, but mentally, how do you balance it mentally? Because it's probably safe to say that you make decent money on both ends, in your business and as an employee.
Yeah.
But sometimes your purpose, like you're driven more towards one of them. So when you're stuck between that rock and a hard place, what makes you go to that one more or to this one more?
Honestly, bro, at the time, because there was a point in time, where I wasn't working a job. I was just solely like flying high, flying high, flying high. That's all I am. I'll never be a worker. It's a song. What they say, fuck a worker, be a boss.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Fuck a worker, be a boss. So I was coming off the pandemic. I was making dumb money off of unemployment, just trading stocks and crypto and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I don't need this. Yeah, I'm good for a long time. So I was just focused on it, but it came a point in time where I was becoming successful, but I didn't have capital. I had cash flow. Capital is money that you know you good. Cash flow is, I got this $5,000, and if I don't do something with this $5,000,
He's just going to sit.
yeah, it's just gonna sit. So, and I'm not gonna make any more money off of
At
it.
all.
I spend the $5,000 and it's gone. So, I was like, you know what? So I got a little part-time job at Nike. That wasn't really working out for me. So I started serving again. That wasn't really working out for me. So I was like, you know what? Like, let me get a big boy job. I'm grown. Like, I'm a grown adult now. So let me, take a step and, get some health insurance, get some benefits while I build capital. Because I noticed after, being in the group of people that I'm in, you need money to be in this industry. So it's like you might as well go sit down and collect that check every 2 weeks. And, I mean, you might not like it, but essentially it has a purpose. So, and I'm learning a lot on the job.
Absolutely. So then what's the plan of action for Flying High for the next, till 2030, for the next 6 years?
Man, until 2030, man, I'm just trying to push my product. I'm trying to get as much shelf space as possible, let people know that we are a premium quality brand. Designer brand, if you will, of cannabis. It's like if you're a non-user or if you're an avid user, I want you to be able to like my products. I want to be able to relate to everybody. I want everybody to be able to afford good product, not the little crispy brown shit that they sell at the store, but we're not going to get into all that.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, I want to just get shelf space for the most part, get the brand out there, make the people know what Flying High is. Let people know what Flying High is about, and then maybe after 2030, we can talk about what Moms was talking about and open that dispensary up.
Okay.
We'll
Now,
just take it one day at a time.
out of all your products you have, because you just told us all of the products, what's your personal favorite products?
Hey, that THCA flower, baby. Yeah, no, that shit burns. That shit blows for real.
Yes.
I'm actually on that right now, and for my colleagues out in the stands that was in the parking lot with me, that's what you indulged in as well. So let me know what you feel. Well, let me know how you like it.
Okay, now, this is a question that I want to know personally. You want to know it too, because you're an avid smoker as well. Nobody knows that you smoke. Now, I don't smoke. This is why I'm asking this question. What's the difference between a blunt in a joint and like a pre-roll?
So essentially, a pre-roll and a joint are the same things. It's just a pre-rolled joint. A joint is, break it down, roll it up. It's like you're rolling up a cigarette essentially. But a joint, it has a filter, or a pre-roll joint, it has a filter. It's been pre-stuffed for you already, so you don't have to roll it up. You just grab it and light it up. Then,
Simple.
yeah. And then a blunt, it has nicotine in it. So Swisher Swedes, all the other companies like that. That's basically they're selling cigars, which
Right.
you're smoking nicotine. So the nicotine, or not the nicotine, excuse me, the tobacco. I don't want y'all thinking I don't know my stuff. I just overindulged in the parking lot. So, but yeah, the blunts, they're just tobacco wraps essentially. So that's really what it is. The blunts will kind of give you a little more of a buzz because you're smoking tobacco, or not necessarily tobacco, but a little residue of tobacco with your flower. And then the joints is just pure flower with whatever papers that you smoke. I personally prefer raw blacks because it's the thinnest paper on the market. So.
Raw blacks. Okay. Now there is a young man out there, a young woman out there, and they're watching this, and they're watching you, and they're inspired by you right now, bro. They're like, man, I didn't know like stuff like this existed.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you existed. Like I want to be like you. So for that little boy and that little girl. That has big dreams, goals, aspirations, but they don't want to be a firefighter. They don't want to be a teacher. They don't want to be an astronaut. Like they want to do what you do. Give me 5 steps or tips for them to follow your footsteps into this industry.
5 steps to follow my steps into this industry. Number 1 would be to build capital. Number 2 will be to get involved. There's plenty of groups out there. People just don't know about them because of the stigmas on cannabis. But you have things like DFW Normal. You have the Texas Hemp Coalition. You have countless groups out there. Wow. I could go on for days naming all of them. Number 3, you just got to do it. Honestly, you just have to, make connections and do it. And I would actually, put that lower on the list. So number 3, I would say, is make connections.
Make connections.
Number 4 is you just have to do it, like I said. And then number 5, wait, was that 5?
That was 4.
That was 4?
That was 4.
Man, I don't even know. I should have kept counting. And then the 5th thing, man, you just have to continue to be able to learn every day. You have to be willing to learn every day because there is always going to be a person that's doing it better than you. There's always going to be a person that has better shirts than you, better flour than you, better bags than you. So, marketing skills is one thing that I really struggle with. Yeah. So, you just have to be able to take it with a grain of salt and keep moving. And like I mentioned, take it one day at a time.
Wow. Now, to the people out there that want to get in touch with you, they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
They want to reach out. They want to DM. They want to text you. They want to email you. How can they get in touch with you, brother?
Okay, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram. That's really where I'm most active because all the social medias are really not fucking with the cannabis brands at the moment. But you can follow me on Instagram at Flying High Flowers. You can buy and check out our website, Fly In with no G, High Flowers. No. The website has a G, flyinghighflowers.com. And then you could email me at Pearce Giles at flyinghighflowers.com as well.
Now, last question. As always, how I like to end the show. What is one piece of free game that you received in your life that you want to give to the world?
They say if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. So I encourage all my brothers to pick up books, start reading it, and not that nonfiction, that fictional shit either. We need nonfiction. We need cold, hard facts. Such and such said this back then, and it's just a lot of insight. When I started reading, and me and you have talked about plenty of books. It's just a lot of insight and good information, and I honestly can say when I started reading, I started living a better life.
Wow. I'm your host, CJ Moss, y'all. I'm truly blown away, pun intended. I'm truly blown away by this episode from my boy PG Pearce Giles, the CEO of Flying High Flowers. Any last words for us, brother?
The sky is the limit.
We'll see See you next week.
See ya.
What's good, y'all? It's CJ Moss, the official host of the Free Game Podcast, where we give you free game for this game called life through interviews, stories, and experiences. Because I can't lie to y'all, life can be hard and challenging without the proper information and wisdom. So we're going to have on entrepreneurs, athletes, business owners, experts of all fields, social media influencers, and just flat out great people with amazing stories. So tap in with us every Friday at 11 a.m. to get yourself some free game. Let's get it.